Somebody leaked a list of the whip count and who's voting for whom. You can see right now, it looks like Rick Scott has about 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, has 11 votes. 11 votes. I guess 12, including himself. Rand Paul from Kentucky, which is funny because Mitch McConnell's also from Kentucky, and clearly Rand Paul, not a fan. J.D. Vance from Ohio, which is very poignant because J.D. Vance is the vice president who just ran on a ticket where the majority of the country handed him and his running mate, President Trump, a mandate to put forward the policies and the agenda that they ran on. And you would think if J.D. Vance, the vice president-elect, who was given this mandate from the American people, you would think if J.D. Vance is for Rick Scott, maybe the rest of the senators should say, hey, I mean, Vice President, President Trump, they're clearly J.D. Vance and President Trump are probably on the same page, even though Donald Trump won't come out in favor of it. Tommy Tuberville is from Alabama. He's for Rick Scott. Bill Hagerty from Tennessee, who may or may not be the next Secretary of State for Rick Scott. Eric Schmidt from Missouri. Roger Marshall from Kansas. There he is. Rick Scott is for Rick Scott. Be shocking if he wasn't. Mike Lee from Utah. Bernie Moreno from Ohio. Brand new, just elected senator from Ohio. Knocked out Sherrod Brown. He's for Rick Scott. So you can see Ron Wilson and Marco Rubio. You can see that these candidates are not your run-of-the-mill deep state. Go with the Mitch McConnell plan of existence. These are people who are free thinkers. I mean, there's no freer thinker in the Senate than Rand Paul. There's no bigger anti-establishment fighter than Mike Lee in Utah. Mike Lee, I hear, could be the next attorney general, which I believe would be a fantastic choice. But these are people who fight the way Donald Trump does, and they're all on the side of Rick Scott. Josh Hawley is supposedly voting for John Cornyn. Little surprising, but again, Josh Hawley's from Missouri, and Josh Hawley has probably been indebted to John Cornyn for something or other. Again, the longer you're in the Senate, the more in debt you are to these other people. James Langford, no shocker there. John Kennedy, a couple of them. There's a couple of ones that are kind of surprising. Now, Katie Britt from Alabama, she has now openly said that she's not for Cornyn or Thune, but she also did not say that she's for Rick Scott. And there's a lot of people asking, why is that? What is she? What does she want out of a speaker? Because of the high priority this race is now taken, there are a lot of senators who are angry with the American people and are complaining that the American people are making their voices heard about the Senate majority leadership position, which is weird because you would think that as the elected representative of the people, you would want to know what the people think. These people want to go in, they want to cast their secret ballot, they want to get their buddy in the role, and then they want to reap the rewards for the next however many years. But the American public doesn't work like that anymore. Because of this high-profile election that we all just came through, we're all now involved in the system. We didn't work this hard and fight this hard and sweat and pray and battle and talk to people and go out. And I mean, all of us have given up so much energy and so much effort to make sure that we got the right leaders, not just in the White House, but in the Senate, in the House of Representatives, in our state legislatures and our governor's mansions. We're not going to just turn around right now and let the deep state take the Senate back over by picking someone like John Thune or John Cornyn to be the leader, especially when there's someone like Rick Scott who's up to the task. And wouldn't you know it, Elon Musk, who is the new second in command of the United States of America, Elon Musk put a poll on his X feed, and he asked, who should be Senate Majority Leader? Thune, Cornyn, Scott, or other? And as you can see, Rick Scott got 65.5% of the 1 million votes, almost 1.1 million votes that Elon Musk received on this particular poll. The fact that 1.1 million people were interested enough on X to vote in a poll on Senate Majority Leader is a great thing for this country. There is a new awakening. There is a new passion for politics. There is a new understanding that politics is not just on election day, but every day. And I'll tell you, we see it all the time. The number of people that download these podcasts and listen to these videos and comment and interact with me and send me comments. I mean, it's amazing. We have definitely seen a new pulse flowing through the United States of America, and people are more interested in politics and their political leaders and what their leaders are doing than they are in the results of Dancing with the Stars. And that's a good thing for the country. But Elon Musk's poll shows clearly that Rick Scott is the favored among the voters here on X. Rick Scott has an uphill battle, but it could be one that he could win. And if he does, Donald Trump's agenda flies through without any problems, without any roadblocks. Now, a lot of folks are asking, has Donald Trump weighed in? It's a good question. Donald Trump may or may not weigh in on the Senate leader race. There's a couple of reasons why he would. He would because he wants somebody like Rick Scott or somebody else who's going to basically rubber stamp his agenda, make sure that it moves quickly, give him whatever he wants so that we can make America great again. And that would be the obvious choice. But there's also political capital that comes with it. And if Donald Trump sees that the majority of people at the moment are not with Rick Scott and he endorses him, he's then taken a minority position. And he needs to work with all of the 53 Republican senators in Congress. He needs to work with John Thune. He needs to work with John Cornyn. So for the time being, the best thing Donald Trump can do is probably just let the battle brew in the Senate and hope to God that it comes out or pans out the way that he wants it to. At the last minute, at the 0 hour on Tuesday night before the Wednesday election, it may be that at that point, Donald Trump says, okay, enough is enough. Now I'm going to throw my hat in the ring and let everybody know which way I want this thing to go. He did release a statement on Truth Social. It wasn't an endorsement of one candidate or the other, but he did say this. He said, any Republican senator seeking the coveted leadership position in the United States Senate must agree to recess appointments, without which we will not be able to get people confirmed in a timely manner. Sometimes the votes can take 2 years or more. This is what they did 4 years ago, and we cannot let it happen again. We need positions filled immediately. Now, this is a dig on Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell never recessed the Senate. And in not recessing the Senate, Donald Trump could not make recess appointments because the Senate needs to be in recess for a recess appointment to happen. Makes perfect logical sense to anybody following along. And so this is Donald Trump's one stipulation. You'd probably realize that Rick Scott jumped on it immediately and said, absolutely, I'm all about that. John Cornyn and John Thune have also jumped on and said, yeah, we're all for that too. Now, whether or not they're just saying that to get the support of Donald Trump or to keep him out of the race is one thing. We will never actually know the truth until after this happens. But Rick Scott he's been blanketing the airwaves. He's been all over X. He's been all over the news. In fact, Rick Scott is doing something very smart. He's taking the Donald Trump approach to campaigning. He is omnipresent. He is everywhere, and he's getting big-time people to support him. He's out there getting endorsements from Elon and Tucker and Scott Pressler and all these other folks. He's out there trending on Twitter as we speak, and he's out there on Fox News and everywhere else. This was Rick Scott on Fox News with Maria Bartiromo.
Now, how do we get Trump's agenda done? How do we get his nominees done? How do we codify his executive orders? That's what's up for this leadership race right now. So I'm running to change. We've got to have a big change. We got with almost $36 trillion worth of debt, 100,000 people dying of fentanyl or drug overdoses, open border, work military. We have got to change the way the Senate is run to get Trump's agenda done.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point. That's a great way to put it. Donald Trump is changing everything. He ran on a platform of changing the border policy, changing the economy, changing the way we work with our allies. We're seriously draining the swamp. You cannot drain the swamp with John Thune or John Cornyn in a position of power. It's the opposite of draining the swamp. It's just allowing the swamp to continue. And you're talking about the Republican side of the aisle. This is the most important decision we have this week. Secretary of State, sure, that's important. We also need all the other cabinet positions filled, also important. But this is a super important decision. And I don't know if Donald Trump's going to weigh in it or not, but I do know this. The American people are, and the public is, and the voters are, and the senators are getting nervous and angry. They just wanted to roll in with their secret ballot and pick whomever they wanted to. But it doesn't look like the voters are going to allow that to happen. And like I said, that is a truly incredible thing. And that is something that I can get behind and something I'm really thrilled about.